Hi guys, it's Pamara Naturals back with another video. In this video, we're talking about edges, your nape and your hairline. So I'm trying to grow my edges this year, and that's hugely because of a little bit of a setback that I had sometime last year, 2020, where I did this African threading style, which was really beautiful and it can still be effective if done properly. But mine just ended up being a little bit tight because I was adding crochet to the hair, and I did not actually consider, to allow space, at the base before installing the style. So I did end up, encountering or having, some damage around my edges. I will put a link above to the style of the African threading and also the video where I talk about the damage that I experienced as well. So in this video, I'll be sharing 3 products that I'll be using this year to grow my edges. And you can too as well. And I'll also be sharing just, tips and tricks here and there just to help us along, to make sure that we are not only growing our edges, but keeping them on. So if you're interested, keep watching. One of the most common questions that I get, and I can't tell you how many people have asked me this, is what product do I use? People are really stuck on the magic product. People are looking for that one product that will just sort out all your hair problems. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Yes, products do help, but a lot of the times we still need to do certain things like techniques and stop the damaging habits or the things that we're doing to our hair that are causing us to have a receding hairline or a receding nape. So as you can imagine, before you even get started growing your edges, you need to find out what it is that is causing your hairline to recede. For me, obviously, it's the setback with the tight styles, and I would advise you as well to not style your hair tightly. High ponytails, tight weaves, tight wigs, any protective styles that are too tight, cornrows, and even heavy braids. Sometimes, things like this, like braids or twists, if they're too heavy around the edges, that can be detrimental to your hairline. So stay away from the damaging protective styles. Another tip to help us grow our hair this year or grow our hairline this year is to go easy on the gels. Nobody can dispute that, laid edges, sleek and neat looking edges are pretty, but sometimes the gels that we use can be damaging and can be drying to our hair. Gels can really make your style look nice and neat, but they can also be very damaging to your hairline. If you are going to use gels or, edge tamers and things like that, try to find natural, ones, or, gels that do not have some of those harsh chemicals that can be very drying. And obviously not to use them too often. At the minute, I'm using Tame My Edges. I'll show you this one by Auntie Jackie. And that's what it looks like inside. It's a very, dense and thick edge control gel, if you may. And it says it's sulfate-free, paraben-free, mineral oil-free, no petrolatum. It's got flaxseed, argan oil, and grapeseed oil. So when I do feel like my edges need a bit of a, a slick back, this is what I'll use. And I only ever use this one when my hairstyle is pretty much coming to an end and it's pretty rough around the edges. So yeah, go really easy on the gel. Hats, the headbands, the accessories. You'd be surprised what a hat, will do to your hairline, rubbing on your edges. It can end up actually damaging your edges if done too often, or if you're not taking care of your edges while wearing a hat. I would say, wear them sparingly. If you're gonna wear them, try and really moisturize your hair, lubricate your hair. If you can wear like a silky, little cloth in there, that'll be great. Otherwise, just stay away from them, especially when you're trying to grow your edges. If you just need to maintain them, then it might not be, that bad for you to wear hats. But if your edges are like really struggling and you really want to grow them, I would say maybe consider not wearing a hat. I've touched on this already, but moisturize and seal your edges. Hydration to your nape and your hairline is fundamental to growing and nourishing and keeping your edges. Moisture is so important to our hair growth. Not only do we want to moisturize, we also want to seal that moisture in. And in sealing that moisture, we keep it in for longer, but also the oils and the butters that we use, they help lubricate the edges. So your edges don't have too much friction rubbing against each other. They can sort of glide against each other, and that can really protect against single strand knots, breakage, knots, tangles, etc. So since I did that style that sort of pulled my edges out pretty much, I have been trying to grow my hairline, and obviously I'm not, putting any pressure or anything like that on my edges. I don't know if you can see, but they are coming along quite well. And it's a really good idea to leave your edges alone if you want them to grow. If you're gonna put heavy things, wigs, sometimes even the lace wigs, like the wigs with frontal laces and that, sometimes they can be too rough on the edges and they can damage your edges. They can cause friction and dryness, and yeah, your edges just never seem to thrive. So just look into that if you're someone that wears wigs. If you really want to wear a wig, once again, I've spoken about this in many of my videos, but the headband wig is an option because it actually has a silky material around the edges which protects your edges. So we want that. We want our hair to really have that the protection and that smooth surface to rub against, rather than having really rough material around the edges. And in saying that, you also want to wear your satin bonnet or your satin scarf to bed. If you find that your satin bonnet, the elastic is too tight, or the band in the bonnet, the elastic band in the bonnet is too small, sometimes it sort of sits on here and it can actually sort of dig into your edges, which defeats the purpose of why we wear a satin bonnet. So look for satin bonnets that are effective, that are functional, and that have a big elastic around here that's pretty comfortable. And there's satin bonnets that actually have, like a flat material that you can sort of just, pull around your edges and it lays flat on your edges. So no elastic, which can really protect your edges. If you don't like bonnets, go for a scarf. If you don't like scarves, then go for a pillowcase or something like that. So there's options. Just, pick whatever works for you. Those are my tips when it comes to maintaining the edges that you have and nourishing your nape and your hairline. So onto the products that I'll be using to grow my edges. Before I get into them, there's so many growth oils out there. Use whatever you have access to wherever you are. Sometimes all you need to do is like a scalp massage or, an edge massage to, increase the blood flow to the scalp and also the edges as well. So don't get too caught up on the product. If you are really suffering from a receding hairline and you sort of think that maybe there's some traction alopecia there and maybe you have actually damaged your follicles somewhat, then I'll probably go see a doctor about that. If you don't feel particularly ready to see a medical doctor about your edges or your possibly damaged follicles, there is over-the-counter medication that you can sort of buy without a prescription. I believe you can get minoxidil in many countries over-the-counter from a pharmacist or a chemist. I think the other name is Rogaine. Yeah, I believe so. And a couple of friends that I've recommended this medication to have actually, seen progress with their nape. A lot of the times you have to continue with that. So if you really want like a permanent solution or you want to see what your options are, eventually you would have to see a doctor, to sort out your edges. And that's for people that have got really damaged follicles due to traction alopecia and years of tight styles or repeated practices that actually damage the follicles or that traumatize your hairline. So products, I'm going to try and keep it as natural as possible. And the first thing I'm going to share with you is my essential oils that I'll be using for my hairline. I've got my little box here where I keep my essential oils and other things in there. It's a bit of a mess, so I won't show you all of it. But the first one that I'm going to show you is rosemary. Rosemary essential oil, has shown good results when it comes to stimulating the scalp and promoting hair growth. Another one I'm going to be using is lavender oil. What else do we have? Peppermint oil. This is my favorite. I'll be using that to grow my edges. And last but not the least, I will also be using tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is another great way to promote hair growth to your hairline or your nape and even your hair in general. So these are the 4 essential oils that I'll be using to grow my natural hair. Now, as you may know or may not know, you can't use essential oils directly on your scalp or on your skin. You have to mix them with a carrier oil. So you can use something like castor oil, Jamaican black castor oil. You can use olive oil, coconut oil, sweet almond oil, grapeseed oil, whatever oils you like, they will work. As long as it's a carrier oil. Some people prefer to use oils that are not too heavy, like maybe, I don't know, jojoba oil or maybe even, olive oil. And then other people like the thicker oil, something like castor oil. So it really depends on what you choose. I personally will be just mixing oils, carrier oils that I like. Mostly it's going to be olive oil, coconut oil, and castor oil, because that's what I normally have around the house, available to me. Don't go broke buying all sorts of things, all sorts of oils. Sometimes, simple is best. So yeah, just use whatever you have available to you. My herbal hair mix. This stuff is amazing, guys. It's pretty much a herbal mix that comes in a little pack, and all you need to do, obviously you can get it online. I believe it's available on Amazon. I can put some links below if you guys are interested, and I'll put a link to a video that I did about this. But pretty much all you do is dump the herbs in there, herbs, whatever you want to call it, and cold press the oil pretty much, and it becomes this dark, beautiful oil that's super potent and really good for hair growth. It is packed with all sorts of herbs, flowers, things that actually, not only grow the hair but nourish the hair as well. So super exciting, super natural, and yeah, pretty much good for your edges. So if you can access that, go for it. The last product that I'll be using to grow my edges is the multi-peptide for hair density from The Ordinary. Comes in a bottle like that. Ooh. And it's got a little dropper. There you go. So it's like a watery, really light consistency. It's not oily at all. I don't know if you can see, but it's not oily and it doesn't smell like anything. And for those who don't know, The Ordinary, as in the brand The Ordinary, is actually known for, having products that are not only affordable but clean as well. So it's a good option, and I'll be seeing how that works for me. Maybe I'll do 1 month, I'll do the herbal mix, the other month I'll do the peptide, and the next month I will do the essential oils. So that's pretty much how I'm going to be growing my edges this year. Do comment below, let me know how you're growing your edges or your hair in general this year. Let me know if your edges are thriving or if they're sort of struggling like mine. It's really surprising to me how easily our hairline can recede. They're very fragile, these little hairs up here, they're not that thick. And yeah, they need to be handled like an egg, very gently, with a lot of care and a lot of patience. So thanks so much for coming, watching my videos. Until next time, it's Pamela Naturals. Bye.